Fearless Disease.
I think we need to get back to what is the purpose? What is the purpose of Bitcoin? Then we get into stablecoin. The $13.5 trillion that BlackRock managed on behalf of our clients, it's basically managing hope. That's all it is. I mean, why would anybody invest in a 30-year outcome unless you're hopeful in 30 years you have the compounding effect? Bitcoin is an asset of fear. And when you're less fearful, like we had a trade agreement with China, you saw a shift downward. There is conversations this week that there may be some type of settlement in Ukraine. Bitcoin fell a little bit. So you own Bitcoin because you're frightened of your physical security. You own it because you're frightened of your financial security. The long-term fundamental reason you own it because of debasement of financial assets because of deficits. And so to me, even the movement in the last week, and we've had a 20-25% drawdown, and this is the third time since IBIT was created, our ETF. And so you see these shifts, and they're actually pretty non-correlated shifts, and so the role.
But then some people say, is that really insurance, right? If you had bought it at $125,000 and it's now sitting at $90,000, you're saying
if you bought it for a trade, it's a very volatile asset. You're going to have to be really good at market timing, which most people aren't.
That's very true. You got to be very good at market timing, and of course, everybody isn't. Now, he made some good points. Some people do buy Bitcoin out of fear or some kind of insurance for a long-term thing. I mean, Bitcoin is something that's going to be good for building that generational wealth, as people would say, but it takes time. If people don't understand that time is just exactly what it is. It's time. People want that microwave feeling that if they bought Bitcoin now, they want to be millionaires or even thousandaires, in the next few years. And most of the time that's not going to happen because people don't have that much liquid capital to buy that much Bitcoin. So again, we're talking about the regular guy, the Joe Schmo, regular guy of the middle class that wants to put a few bucks in there. He has to understand that this is going to be for a generational thing. It's going to be for his kids. It's going to be for his grandkids. So unless he has a good amount of money, he's not going to be able to become like the biggest millionaire, but it's a good security blanket. And he's right about that.
If you're buying it as a hedge against all your hope, then it has a meaningful impact on a portfolio. The other big problem of Bitcoin is it is still heavily influenced by leveraged players.
That's what I wanted to talk to you guys about.
Okay,
actually.
I mean, that's Bitcoin, but we can see, because we see where the flows are coming from, we're seeing more and more legitimate long-only investors investing in it. There was an article about a foundation, endowment just bought a lot of IBIT. But I can tell you there are a number of sovereign funds that are standing by. They're adding incrementally at 120, at 100. I know they bought more in the 80s. Right. That's fine. And they're establishing a longer position. And you own it over years. This is not a trade. You own it for a purpose. But the market is.
It's true. But this isn't just really FOMO. It's a state level stacking for long term. Because he's saying this over and over again. It's long term holds. While Bitcoin right now is still sitting at least about 92 right now. After, like I said, 27% dip, because it was at 126. It was very high early in the year, around the third quarter. But it's a long term thing. You have to be able to think long term. That's what Larry is talking about. Well, Mr. Fink, let me respect him, Mr. Fink. That's why his company has bought it, but he understands that it's not for everybody, and people will have to take guesses. They will have to take risks to really jump into this Bitcoin phenomenon.
Is heavily leveraged, and that's why you're going to have more volatility.
Okay, so Brian, let's talk about that though, the leverage piece, because I think we all don't know where all the leverage lies. I think some people Michael Saylor has a company strategy, formerly MicroStrategy. That seems like a big levered bet. He owns about 3%, I believe, of all the Bitcoin that exists. How much leverage is there really?
Well, yeah, we saw a little bit of this on October 10th this year, and there was quite a bit of leverage that got unwound as the market moved around a little bit. But this largely happened on offshore exchanges, right? On Coinbase, we saw very little of this. And to me, it's just an example of why we need clear rules on the books in the United States. I think 2025 is actually, we'll look back on this as the year that crypto regulation went from kind of gray market to well-lit establishment, because we saw the passage of the Genius Act, which was huge for stablecoins. We've now seen a bipartisan vote for market structure legislation in the House, and now it's going through the Senate. And so hopefully within a few months, we might get a vote on that in the Senate. And then I think we'll have the foundation to really have this industry be built in the US, and we'll see a little bit less of this kind of leverage or high risk activity happening offshore.
I want to get to stablecoins and tokenization and blockchain and where this all goes. But you mentioned lobbying before, and I just want to ask you one lobbying-related question. And actually, it can go to both of you because you're both doing something similar, which is that you've both made donations to the new ballroom that the White House is creating. We were just talking to the Treasury Secretary earlier about David Ellison making movies and trying to placate the administration, if that's what he's doing. I want to read you what Jamie Dimon said about making donations in this context, because he says that he's not doing it. And he says we have an issue, which is anything we do, since we do a lot of contracts with governments here and around the world, we have to be very careful about how anything is perceived and also how the next DO.
All right, now he's trying to switch subjects off to talk about the president buying, towards that ballroom and everything. But this topic is basically on Bitcoin. They've already conceded that it's a long-term game with this Bitcoin, and that even his company at BlackRock, they are going to buy as much as they can. Mr. Fink knows what he's doing, but I'm glad they even talked about it. Most CEOs don't even come out like this and be able to explain the nature of certain assets that they're investing in. I'm glad he did. It's waking up what's going on with my finances and what I need to do as far as with my family to be able to invest. And I hope other people are making the same exact thing. It's not going away. Bitcoin is here to stay. The big guys, they're already jumping in. They have more capital. Okay, cool. But we as little guys can still be able to put in as much money as we can and invest for our generational wealth as well. There's always a time and place in human history where you can be able to jump in and be able to start something for your family. So I would suggest you guys go and jump in as well. Not financial advice, but you guys do what you have to do. More funds still file in. 150K Bitcoin by mid 2026. That's what I'm thinking. And Fink's, like you said, is warning on flat weaknesses is the signal. So if you have a weakness and scared to go and jump into this, then double think that. Just rethink that you don't have the extra money. Rethink that. And stop looking at so many other videos thinking that it's not going to go anywhere, because some people will create some type of scarcity so you won't jump in. That's the name of the game. Once again, appreciate everybody always coming through and supporting us. Smash a like, tap the next video, subscribe, hit the bell. And you got the CashApp at the bottom. FearlessDisease in the description if you're rocking with the movement. See you on the next one. Stay rich, stay fearless.